And I think that if we could look at people less as others and more like ourselves. I went to this retreat that Richard Rohr, and he wrote that, if you have a heart and soul, so does that person that's pushing your buttons. So does that person that is a different political party than you. And if you want love and forgiveness and understanding, that person is entitled to it too.
Great book.
It's a great book.
It's a great day, and it's a yippee moment. We've got
Yes.
Maria Shriver in the house. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Very excited about this.
You gave me a hug out there. Now you're shaking my hand.
Well, I can't
okay,
jump
I see
over.
how it is. Okay.
I'll give you a bigger hug when you leave.
Okay.
You've got a book out called I've Been Thinking, Reflections, Prayers, and Meditations for a Meaningful Life. A very inspiring book. I read most of it. I haven't finished it, but my audience knows that I've rarely finished books.
Really?
But just the point that I got through most of it was very inspiring.
Oh, that is?
So
really?
I was committed. It's hard for me to read and stay focused. It's hard for me to get
Well, the
through.
goal of this book is that you can pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down, and it's done in kind of spurts. So there's a reflection, there's a quote for inspiration, and then there's a prayer at the end of every chapter, so to speak. But it was done conscious of people's attention span, conscious of people's the speed at which people are going in life, and it's designed to slow you down. It's designed to get you thinking. It's designed to get you to be reflective about your own life, about what I'm talking about. Do you agree, not agree? Does it resonate? Do you have something different to say about it? Because they're all really kind of chapters about what constitutes a meaningful life.
Yeah. Do you think we're going too fast right now?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
We're doing too much?
Well, I think that the world is, 24 hours a day, right? And people feel, I think, that they have to keep up. They have to post, they have to read, they have to see what everybody else is doing. So everybody's comparing each other to the other person. And so I think that, and I think that's really of all ages, actually.
Really?
I think it's, certainly acute for young people, kids who are in, even grade school, middle school, high school, college. It's cute for people who are coming into the workplace to see kind of how they're comparing to people they went to school with, or, are they going to be as successful as Mark Zuckerberg when he was 30? What's wrong with them that they didn't come up with the bird? So it's all
bird
of
scooters,
that.
you mean?
The bird
Those are
scooters,
amazing.
right? Yeah.
They're amazing.
So it's, so young people are thinking about that. Women are worried about, their careers, their families. Are they going to have a kid? Are they not? Or what's going to happen? And so I think there's a lot of that going on. And so I advocate for really a moment in everybody's day to step back, step off, to reflect, because I think all great thinkers and all great people had, a practice of stepping out and stepping back, because that's the only way you could actually have an original thought.
Yeah, I think growing up, I used to go to church all the time, and then at some point in my 20s, I kind of stopped doing that. And I think there's a lot of young adults who kind of stopped that tradition from my experience, at least. And then they don't have the time to reflect. They don't have the time to think, like you're talking about.
Right.
And that's why I think that meditation has got this big movement right now, where it's like the new prayer for some people that maybe don't believe in religion or church, or for whatever reason they're not going anymore. It's their opportunity to sit and just be, as opposed to constantly do, right?
Right, but I think the benefit of church is that it's communal, right?
Absolutely.
You're in community, so you're gathering and you're part of something larger. I'm a big advocate of meditation, but it's singular, it's alone again, right? So I think I think people are gravitating to that because they're like anxious, they're high strung, they need relief, and meditation provides that. But I think really what ultimately provides that is connection, right? It's being in community, in connection with another person, making a real life friend. Knowing that real life friend will pick you up if you get a flat tire or if your bird gets stuck on the side of the road. But that's a real person, right? And that,
As opposed to a social media person.
well, or, and I think there are great communities on social media, but it's different than someone who will sit with you at the doctor's office. It's different than someone who will come over when you're really hurting. Those are different people. Those people can become that. But I think that so many of the people of all ages that I talk to know that there's something wrong with the way we're all living, that it's going so fast. And so they're looking for alternative ways to live. Meditation offers that, right? People look to exercise to offer that. They look to be of service to offer that. So I think that we're human beings, and connection is what we need. And we, whether you want to call it love, community, connection, I think all of us want to live a meaningful life. I think everybody wants to be great. And I advocate that people already are, just by their being.
Yeah.
And I think we mistake oftentimes that you have to do something to be great.
So just being alive.
I think you're divine by being alive. I think you are, if you're a good person, that's great. If you are being a great daughter, a great son, a great brother, a sister, a great, partner, whatever that is, that's great. I think we put so much pressure on each other to, quote, achieve something so we can be in the school of greatness, or we can be viewed as great by others. And so often those people don't feel great themselves, right? That they're just rushing through life. So I've come to, find that the people, what makes me feel great is really being in connection with other people.
And you've been surrounded by some of the most, celebrated people, of our lifetime. You've spent time with people like that. Mm-hmm. Are those individuals, you don't have to name names, but are those individuals typically happy and feel like they're living meaningful lives? Or is it kind of split where some of them are miserable, but they look like they're achieving a lot?
Well, I think that's always, everybody has their own path. Mm-hmm. And I grew up around people who did really great things, moved, societies, moved countries, moved, and they had a great deal of restlessness about them, a great deal of drive about them, a great deal of rage and anger about some kind of injustice, and that's what propelled them. I've also been around other people who, lived their lives in different ways, and I think they characterize success differently than maybe people I grew up with, and I think it's always, different. I think people have such different paths. I've found that people get to a certain place in life where they do wonder, like, am I on the right path? Is this all there is? Maybe I should switch it up. I think the first part of life is different than the middle and different from the end of it. I think that's super interesting. And I think really great people that we meet, that are super, super successful people, are complicated by and large. And
why is that?
Well, I think it's complicated to be, I don't know how you're defining great, but, if you're, I guess, trying to run for president of the country, or if you're Putin, those people are complicated, right? So I think... are
there any people that are extremely driven and say have achieved great things or achieved big things that aren't complicated?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the person. Certainly, what I know of, like the Dalai Lama or Bishop Tutu, and I had the good fortune to meet Mandela. I would say that, at the point when I met him, perhaps he was less complicated than had I met him when he was a young man and he
was driven.
And he was on his way to prison, and then you meet somebody who's on their way out. They're a very different person, right? So I think I'm always interested in people who grow and evolve, because I think that's why we're here. I think sometimes people say, well, so-and-so said I changed. I'm like, thank God, because who wants to be at 50 exactly the same you are at 20? I've always said that about politics. We penalize political leaders for evolving and for changing their opinion. We say, like, you said 20 years ago on this day that you felt like this, and now you're changing your mind. And that, to me, is always a good sign, because that means life impacted you. You opened your eyes, you allowed yourself to evolve and to change. And in this book, I write about some of the things that I was wrong about, where I have reevaluated my opinion on that. And I think that's a good thing, to think differently all the time, right? Steve Jobs said, think different. That's, I think I'm interested in people who think outside the box, as I know you are too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the one thing, if there is anything, that you would change in your life?
Nothing.
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 Any regrets?
No.
No.
No. I think, that doesn't mean there haven't been painful
experiences,
but I think you grow from them.
Yeah.
You evolve from them. I grew up in a kind of great family, but there's a lot of trauma, and so I think that shaped me. I was really pleased to go into journalism, but it was tough and competitive. I fell in love at 21 and had 4 great children out of a long relationship. I'm on my own doing different things now. I have a great relationship with my kids, so that's an interesting, as having adult kids versus young kids. So I don't look back and say, I regret this. There are some things I wish had turned out differently, that might have taken a right instead of a left, or might not have happened, but I don't regret the things that have happened in my life.
Right. How do you think parents can raise conscious children to live meaningful, fulfilled lives in today's society with all the comparison and judgment and desires that I guess kids or young adults have?
Well, I think it's challenging, right? I think you have to first know your kid, right? I think you have to be in conversation with your kid, because as any good parent knows, your kids change a lot, right? And they talk about changing opinions and changing needs and changing wants.
It's every day.
Changing people, So I think, setting aside time to be with that child, setting aside time to have family activities, I think all of that's super important. Letting children know that they're loved and that they don't have to be, quote, on the cover of a magazine or
in a movie
or whatever that is, that they're loved. They don't have to earn your love. I think is a really powerful thing that a parent can give.
Is there anything your kids could ever do or say that would make you not love them?
No.
No matter what it is?
No.
If they disappointed you at the highest level, or...
I don't even know what that is. What is the highest level?
I'm not sure. Maybe they committed crimes or did something immoral, or they went to prison, or who knows?
I think everybody, I would, want to be able to offer them a place of safety and sanctuary and work through whatever that is. I'm not scared of people who have dark sides or who make mistakes, because I think we all have that. I think we all, are imperfect. We all have darkness, we all have light, we all have complexity, we all have simplicity, we all fall down, we all need to be raised up. So I think that, no, I can't really imagine what that would be. I hope, because I would think that whatever, caused that or happened, there must be some reason, and I should work through it with.
Yeah. What's the dark side of you?
Oh, I'm restless, I'm complicated, I'm driven, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of good, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of complexity. I was saying to my brother the other day, I'm a lot. He goes, you've always been a lot, it's okay. And, he goes, don't be afraid of your allotness. And, but I'm curious, I'm indefatigable, I'm kind of, but I'm also fun. I'm really fun. I'm adventurous. I'm curious. So I think, the good and the bad, right? And I don't like to look at it as bad, but I think of that maybe my allotness might scare some people, but I'm interested in people who are a lot too. So.
Yeah. And who was the most influential person for you growing up? Was it your mom?
My mom definitely influenced me tremendously. My kind of family influenced me tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
And
the greatest lesson you think you learned from your mom?
Life is a marathon, not a sprint. You're going to have it, over a lifetime, but not all at once. And, don't judge yourself at that moment that you haven't done X, Y, or Z. And so I practice kind of visualization of where I want to be kind of towards the end of my life, or in 15 years from now. Who do I want around me? What do I want that picture to look like? What do I want to be able to look back on and say that I did, and the company I kept? And so I work towards that vision. I call it, and I write about it in the book, I call it the open field. And so I visualize that that's where I want to go. I visualize getting there. I visualize who will be at the table with me. And I visualize, and then I concentrate on making sure that those people in my present day feel loved, feel seen, feel that I have time for them, because I want them to be there for me at the end.
I think I heard you say that the open field is a place beyond fear and resentment and guilt and shame and insecurity, where you can be your most authentic, loving self.
Yeah, and beyond political affiliation, beyond net worth, beyond zip code. Just where your divine self is there and you're accepted. And nobody's asking you what you do or what you did or how much money you made, but or who you voted for, but they're just thrilled that you're there. And I think that that's an image that has brought me hope in my life when I felt like, oh my God, you know, like, and I think that's also, everybody feels like that at some point, right? And they're like, and you know, and then I visualize that, and then I'm like, okay, I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going, and I've also never been afraid to go to kind of unknown places with no plan. So I moved out here unknown. You know, I went into journalism unknown. You know, and so I've done things that kind of in my own family were like, what? You know, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just going here. I'm just going there. I was going to try this, and so that's good. It's given me, you know, a great life.
What do you think has been the greatest decision you've made in your life?
I don't think there's any, quote, one greatest decision that I've made. I think certainly having children was a great decision. I was scared to do that because I was like, oh my God, there's no women in journalism that are doing that. How am I going to be able to do that? You know, now, of course, everybody in journalism is having a kid. But at the time that I was doing it, it was, you know, being at the network and having a kid was like, you couldn't see it. So I didn't know how it would work and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, it turned out to be a great thing for me. And so Arnold and I have 4 kids, and they love each other, and they have fun with each other, and they're there for each other. And I've tried to instill in them that, you know, these siblings of yours are going to be your best friends through life. So take care of that. You can have a fight, but you can't, you know, peace
Hold
out.
on to it.
You can't peace out. You got to peace in.
Right.
Yeah.
Who has been your greatest teacher in your adult life besides your mom? Because I'm sure she influenced you for your adult
Different
life.
people, you know. I mean, certainly, you know, my mom died 9 years ago, so she, you know, was a big teacher of mine. My father taught me different things. I've learned things from friends. I learned things from, I've learned a lot from my children.
Really?
I've learned a
What
lot.
about?
I've learned about patience. I've learned unconditional love from my children.
Yeah.
I've learned about how different they are and how they want to be treated like individuals. I've learned about patience from my children. I've learned, you know, about acceptance from my children. I've learned about letting go from my children. I've learned
What's been the
about
hardest thing to let go of?
them.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, they get older and they start their own lives and they have their own opinions and they go off to school, and you've, you know, devoted your whole self, and then you're supposed to be thrilled that they're up and leaving you, and that's supposed to be just the best news of all. And so you have to let go. And then,
Because they're not living with you anymore.
Well, they're not living. I have one boy who's at, in school, so he comes home in the summer. But and I do family dinners, so they all come home. But they're, you know, they're on their own path, and
They moved on.
no, they haven't moved on, but they've moved to their own beat. And so, in order to allow for that, you have to step back and step off, right? You know, so I think that that's
And not be
been,
attached to what it used to look like, or
yeah, not be attached, not to think that they're, you know, 6 and 7 and you're in control. Yeah, because you're not.
in control
You're
anymore,
not in control anymore. So that's
Is that challenging?
that's something. Yes, I think it's challenging if you've been in control of something and it's all gone the way you laid it out, and then people get up and go like, yeah, I'm going over here now and
do my own thing.
I'm going to do that. And but I think that that's a really great lesson, because it teaches you that you really have so little control over everything, and trying to be a control freak is never a good idea. And I think that's, in this book I write about letting go. I write about grief. I write about death. I write about separate identities. I write about all of these things that life presents to itself. Life is a journey, right? And it's constantly asking you to step in and step out, to hold on and to let go. And I think that's what, I think we don't talk enough about that we all think it's a linear path. We're going to go to here, go there, get a picket fence, do well, And I think it's so much more complex than that, and knowing that, I think, is a relief. Knowing that
just
you can
the awareness of it.
That you can be happy, or that when you're really depressed and sad, that's not the end of the world. It's a wave, right? But I don't think, like certainly when I was growing up, nobody talked about that. So I try to say to my kids, you could have all of those feelings in one day, and that's okay. You can be incredibly depressed. You can be full of grief. You can be angry. You can be elated. You can be hopeful. You can be sad. You can be excited. And that could be one day.
Wow.
And so I think knowing that that's common, normal, that that's life, takes some of the, fear out of it. Because when we get depressed or we get desolate, and we're like, oh my God. But then if that's a wave. And obviously for some people who have, serious medical depression, it's not a wave, and they should get medical treatment and be in good therapy and stuff like that. But for many people, it's a wave, and that's life.
Yeah, I think the former coach, I think his name is Jimmy V. There's a Jimmy V Foundation.
Yes, I know
his
Jimmy
quote,
V. Yes.
like his speech, where he said that I think a good day is when you laugh and cry and smile and hug all on the same day. He's like, that's a good day.
Yeah, that's
laugh
a good day.
Laugh and cry.
Yeah,
it's a great day.
But I could do without the cry. Or like a good week.
Joyful.
Maybe a good week. You're going to have
exactly.
some crying. And
is there any pain or challenges that you're still holding on to that you haven't
Oh,
learned
yeah,
to let
but I'm
go
not
of?
going to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's, there's always stuff that you're working, for me anyway, that I'm working through. And I think the goal, as I said, is when you get there, you've lost whatever anger, pain, resentment, all those things. And sometimes that takes longer than other stuff. And but it's your responsibility to work it through.
Why do you think you still hold on to some of those things?
Because you're human. I think, sometimes you're still, sad that you lost your mom, and you're still in grief, and you wish you could get over it quicker, or you're still really angry about some thing that happened 2 years ago, and you want to get through it, and you haven't gone at the pace, or you haven't done the work, or so I think. But I feel, I have to say, I feel really at peace in my life. I feel good. I feel joy-filled. I feel connected. I feel on purpose.
Do you think, you don't have to share if you don't want to, do you think if you were able to let go of some of these things, whatever these things are that you're holding on to still or working through, do you think if you're able to work through them and let them go quicker, that something new would open up in your life or be available?
I think
or you
like
think
some
you're
days,
exactly where you need to be?
Yeah, I think I'm exactly where I need to be. And I don't think there's a lot that, some week you're working on something you didn't even know you were working on, right? So it's like, wow, I didn't even know I was still dealing with that. Or you feel like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm not dealing with anything. I don't have any pain. I don't have any regret. And then all of a sudden a trigger thing happens and you're like, got to do some more work on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this before when we connected, that, even though 5 years ago I started to heal and let go of trauma from being sexually abused as a kid and never telling anyone about it, and kind of always feeling this defensive trigger when someone did something that I felt was abusive towards me.
Right.
Even though I feel like I'm at peace and I've healed it, 5 years later, and I'm constantly working through it, there are still moments where I get triggered and I get defensive, and I'm like, okay, well, I haven't fully let this go, I guess.
Yes, that's what I think. And I think, but being self-aware, that's your job, as I try to say to my kids all the time. Whatever somebody else is triggering in you is your work. right? That's you. You have to figure out, what is it that what button did they press in you, and what can you do to heal yourself in that space? What can you do to understand yourself, right? We like to blame other people for, they yelled at me, or it's like, okay, like that might be their issue. What's your responsibility in it?
Right.
And I think that that's an empowering way to look at your life. So if I had talked to you 6 or 7 years ago, you might have said, I have no problems or whatever, and then something came up, and you're like, holy, wow, that's a whole part of my life I put over there and I never dealt with.
Never talked about.
And so, but maybe last week you would have felt like, oh my God, everything's perfect or great, and then this week something happened and you're like, gosh, I need to work on that more. And I think as opposed to that being bad, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think we as a society can do more of that we're not doing to overcome the biggest challenges that we're each facing in our own life?
Well, I mean, that's obviously a huge question. I think that if we could look at people less as others and more like ourselves. I went to this retreat that Richard Rohr, who's a Franciscan priest, and he wrote that, if you have a heart and soul, so does that person that's pushing your buttons. So does that person that is a different political party than you. And if you want love and forgiveness and understanding, that person is entitled to it too. So I think perhaps, looking at people less as other, looking at people less as someone who's of a different color skin or a different experience, but just being curious about their life. I talk a lot about we can all be more compassionate, caring, and conscious towards one another. And I don't believe that that's kind of woo-woo talking. I think that's hard work. And,
being compassionate, caring, and conscious.
Yeah, I think, you don't see it in our political world. You don't see it being discussed by this president. You don't even see those words coming out of his mouth, or you don't see it coming out of the mouths of people who are talking in Washington. It's very combative, it's competitive.
Why is that? Why are we
I don't know, and yet
that?
If you look at, whether it's all the people that we admire or that people admire, whether it's, Mandela, that's Gandhi,
Martin Luther King. Those that have a true legacy.
Yeah, all spoke about that, right?
Talked about compassion, love, caring for humanity, right?
And I thought, former President Obama spoke about that last week in South Africa on the anniversary of Mandela's birthday, where he talked about the need for more love, where he talked about the need for more women to be in leadership positions, where he talked about the legacy of a man like that. And I think that kind of dialogue, President Macron in France has spoken about leading from a place of love. You do hear some leaders talking about it, but I don't think enough, and I don't think we pay it enough attention.
Yeah.
We more respond to what he called strong men politics, right? Strong arms, strong men. Yeah. That's like,
Sure.
beating your chest and like, you come near me, I'm gonna,
defend myself, protect myself, whatever.
Whatever.
Now, you mentioned women in leadership and more women in leadership. Do you think we should be putting more women in leadership as companies, societies, politics, placing women there, or do you think that it should be because they earned it for whatever reason,
well, I think
or they're voted
everybody
in?
earns. I think everybody wants to earn
right.
Their place, and I think even women who, companies that say we want to have a certain amount of women on our boards, those women have earned it. I think it's really helpful for companies to say we want to have, a diverse board, whether it's women, people of, Latinos, African Americans. It's better if our company's board is diverse. I think that's good. And I think it's, important. I think it's important, I do a lot of work in the Alzheimer's space and women's space, is to go into doctors and researchers and say, we need to focus attention on women because we haven't tested these drugs on women. We haven't looked at how women are aging. We haven't looked at women's health the same way. That's not against men. It's just earning the right to be equal in terms of how we're treated in the medical profession or how we're treated in any profession. But I think there are more women running for office. I don't think running for office is for every person. But I think women who are jumping in, they feel they've earned it. They've earned the right. And I think, by the way, everybody's earned the right, right? You have a story, you can tell it. If you have an idea, put yourself out there, make your way, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And but I think that, you know, women can lead at home. They can lead
Absolutely.
in communities. They can lead. You don't have to be on the board of a Fortune 500 company to be great.
I think moms are the most influential people.
Yeah.
Because really, as you know, a young boy growing up, I was influenced by my dad as well, but my mom was there more. You know, my dad just happened to be working longer hours, and so I was around my mother more, and she had the ability to really influence me in the way I think, the way I treat people, the way I act, everything. And so I think moms, whether they're pursuing a big career or they're moms by themselves, they have the most influence in my mind.
Right.
They have massive influence.
They do have massive influence, and I think it's also time that we recognize the incredible work of motherhood.
Absolutely.
You know, I meet so many women, certainly when I was First Lady, women would come up to me all the time and introduce themselves, and they would say, I'm just a mom. And I had a whole thing like, let's eliminate the word just, because I think women very often feel like if I'm not doing X, Y, and Z over here, and I'm just a mom, that you're not going to be interested in me. I'm not going to be great. I'm not going to be invited on the show. And I think society is telling people that's not enough to just be a mom. When it is, in fact, then we say, oh, but it's the most important job in the world. But we're also saying it's really not, I'm not going to talk to you at dinner. If I could sit next to, you know, Lewis, I want to talk to him because you're just a mom. So I think we have a lot of conflicting messages we put out there. And so we say, oh my gosh, you know, school teachers are so important. And then they ask for a raise or help. And we're like, how dare they? Or we say we really value our firefighters and stuff, but we don't want to support them. Yeah, so I think we as a society, you know, are very often hypocritical in what we say and actually in what we do. And we want to, you know, be of service. We think everybody should be of service, but then we're not of service. And I have a friend who's like, oh my God, about the environment, and she doesn't recycle. So I think, you know, I think we could all do well to check our own house, get that. We're all pontificating about everybody else's house a lot. And I think it's good to like make sure you're in your lane, focused on your house.
Absolutely. Before you criticize anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you're in order,
Yeah.
I've only got 10 more minutes with you.
Are you taking notes?
I'm taking notes because I'm curious of this question, because I know you're constantly seeking information, ideas, you're constantly learning and growing and sharing that through your books and journalism and everything. What's the question you've yet to answer for yourself?
What's the question I've yet to answer for myself? I don't know. That's a good question. What I've yet to answer I have a different question for myself almost
every day.
daily. You know,
But is there like a, you know, have you answered the question of why you think you're here, or what this world is, or what the purpose of it all? Have you answered these questions for yourself?
I don't. Yeah, I have this, and I write about this in the Sunday paper because I'm taking August off. So this is taped. I'm not lying. But, you know, there's this great Rumi poem that, you know, Rumi, I'm a big fan of Rumi. And it's like, what you're looking for is looking for you. And I think that is really, I think ultimately we're all looking to be loved. And I think everybody is looking for love, and they exercise their way of getting that in different ways. But I think ultimately, you know, maybe that's what is looking for you, is love at the end of the day. And so I'm aware of that. So I don't think there's a question. I think it changes as in my decades, you know, what am I here for? What am I doing? I ask myself a lot of that. Why am I doing everything that I'm doing? But then when I'm quiet, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing. It's only when I get like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Right.
You know, and I do get that. I do like, am I in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Can I focus it more? Can I do it better? my mother was a lot like that, and so I think I do have a little bit of that. But if I come up with one question at the end that I could never figure out, I'll have to let you know.
Yeah.
I don't think, is there one question that you...
That's a good question. That's why I asked it. Why are we here?
Why are we here?
That's my question. Why are we here?
I know I'm here because my parents had me. I believe
I mean,
I'm
why
here
are we why human beings? Why are human beings here?
to connect, to collaborate, to
Why?
show compassion. Why not?
There you go.
Yeah, why not? Where else would we be?
Why were we created? You know, why wasn't it just animals, or why was there life in
Well,
general?
there were animals, there are animals, and perhaps they evolved, and I happen to believe in God, and I believe that God, that we're all divine, and that we're all here for our own unique divine purpose.
Absolutely.
And I like to believe that. And
I like to believe that as well.
yeah, I like to believe that because...
But I wonder what the real reason is, though.
Well, what if that
You know,
is the real reason?
That might be.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
just say that it is.
Oh, perfect. This is called the 3 truths question.
3 truths question.
I like to ask this at the end for people.
Okay,
So
you all these people that you have on
I've
the
answered
board
this.
have answered this.
I think
you
almost
know.
all of them, yes.
Almost all of them.
So this
Lewis
is
has pictures of all the great people.
The wall of greatness, which
What
will
is
be up
it
there
that
soon.
about greatness that is so intriguing to you, so attractive to you?
I think, like you talked about, we're all here to connect, to create, to evolve, to see what we can do with our lives and how we can become greater, I think. And you said that over your life, your early childhood, there was a different mission and a purpose than when you were a teenager, and then when you were in your 20s and 30s, and now that you're 41, it's completely different, right?
Yes.
So
Cute.
for me, we're all here to grow into something.
Right.
We're growing.
Right. Evolving.
We're evolving.
Yes.
And what is it we are evolving for? Are we
Right.
evolving to stay the same from when we were children? Or are we evolving to create something in the world? Create connection, create a positive energy, create an invention to solve a problem. And I'm fascinated with people who evolve to create something for good and create something that inspires one person, 10 people, the world to grow themselves.
Do they have to create a thing, or can there
No, they can
just
just
be?
be. They can just be.
Yes.
And a lot of it is
So-
their way of being.
Yeah,
I
I think
think-
that is, we're all kind of creatures of doing,
Uh-huh.
and so if we were actually just being,
Absolutely.
and our being is what made us great,
Absolutely.
as opposed to what do you do? I always wish that people come up to me all the time and they say, you know, I do this, or I know so-and-so, and I stop and I go, do you have a name?
Right.
And who are you? Who are you?
What would you say if I said, who are you?
I'd say I'm a fun woman. I'm a girl who lives in Brentwood, California. I'm a mom of 4. I'm a divine light, and I'm here to get to know you. And
If I said, what are you most excited about? What would
getting
you
to
say?
know you.
Yeah. Is that what you're about, getting to know people?
Getting to know people, being in connection. How can I help you? Has anything I've learned or done in life, is it of any value to you? How can I support you? But I'm here to know you. I want you to know me, not the book I wrote, the family I came from, but me, Maria. So I'm interested in who you, Lewis, are. I'm less interested in your school of greatness. I'm here because
Sure.
you have it and you invited me, but
Right.
I'm not really interested in it. I'm more interested in you and your being, and I think that that's the challenge. I
Not
think
the
we all,
actions we take, but
yeah, but
our
who
ways
are
of
we?
being.
Who are we?
Our generous hearts, our loving
Absolute-
nature, our
amen.
fun, our spontaneity.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
the kind of person I could call when I have a flat tire? I want to know that about you. I
Why?
want to know about your
It would
struggles.
take me a long time to change a flat tire, but I could call someone to fix it for you.
That's good.
Yeah.
But
I can make it happen for you.
Yeah, I think we live in, unfortunately or fortunately, that's why I called this, I've been thinking, I want to know what you're thinking. I don't want to know
what you're doing.
I'm less interested in that, and I think that puts people off. I see oftentimes, when I go out with my kids, people go, "What do you do?" to them, and they're like, "Well, I'm doing this." I'm like, "But what do you really want to do?" And right away, I can see they're like, "Well,
your kids say this, or
no, people say that to them. They'll be like, "Well, what are you doing? What do you really want to be doing? What is your person?" And there's no like, "What's your name?
Who are you?
Who are you? What do you enjoy? What brings you, happiness? Why are you here? I'm so happy to meet you."
Yeah. I usually leave with two questions. What are you most excited about, and what are you grateful for?
Yeah.
I think when you ask what are you excited about, for whatever reason, it unlocks people where they always look up or they just smile because they think about the thing that brings them the most joy. And then I say, what are you grateful for? And again, it unlocks something else in their heart where they're like, man, I'm just grateful to be alive. Or I'm grateful I got to see my mom and have lunch.
Yeah.
Go to church with my mom this last Sunday.
I would love to be able to do that.
Right?
Yeah.
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 Grateful for these moments. And I think that's a better way to start a conversation than what do you do?
Yeah, amen.
It's very boring.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I think it oftentimes puts people on, because whatever I do maybe isn't, what you think I should be doing, or maybe I don't really like what I do. I don't know if what I'm doing is going to be interesting to you. But I meet so many people all the time, as I said, who come up to me who never even say their name. They'll say like, I know so-and-so who knew you, or I know, or I work over at a thing like this. And then I always say like, do you have a name? And they're always like, stopped. And I go, do you have a name?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, my name is, I was like, okay, great. Now tell me who you are.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to impress me.
Yeah, no, or just, and I think we all do it.
Yeah.
And, somebody was interviewing me today, and she said, okay, just for the record, can you say your name on this tape and put your title on the tape? And I was like, okay, my name is Maria Shriver, and I have no title. And she's like, what do you mean you have no title? I said,
human
I
being.
have no title.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. What is your title?
Yeah.
So what is your title?
I would say a passionate, loving, wise man.
Good.
Human.
Yeah. Human.
Yeah. I got to be respectful of your time because we are over time, but I want to ask you these couple final questions.
Oh, the three truths.
Is this okay?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know, but I
making
guess
sure I'm being respectful of time.
Okay.
Because we just hit our mark. This is called the three truths.
Okay.
So imagine it's your final moment on Earth.
My final moment.
And
yeah.
It's this, whenever you want it to be, as many years out. It could be hundreds of years. You choose the day. You've achieved and you've been the person you want to be for the rest of this time, right? You've created all the books and the events and anything you wanted to do, you've done it. Or anything you don't want to do, you haven't done it. Whatever. It's up to you. You live the life of your dreams.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, everything you've created, you've got to take with you. So there's no more access to books that you've written or words that you've said or videos. You've got to take it all with you. And everyone's there on your bedside. Your family, your kids, everyone that you care about is there. And it's a celebration. And they give you a piece of paper and a pen to write down 3 things you know to be true about your entire existence. Everything you've done, been, everything.
They're giving me a pen and a piece of paper,
and
I'm lying on my deathball and everybody's there. Is that the picture we got?
Yeah, but it's a celebration.
Okay, it's a celebration.
You've got a few days to end it until you call it quits, right?
Right.
But they say, we really want to know like the 3 things you know to be true about everything you've done. You've had so many incredible experiences from all the people you've met,
love,
the
family.
things you've done.
Faith, love, family.
Faith, love, family.
Yeah.
What about those 3?
What about them?
Yeah.
That's what I tell you need.
You
That's
need
what
faith.
You need love and you need family.
Faith, love, family.
Yeah. I've thought about it.
There you go.
There you go.
What happens when we don't have family?
I think you feel alone. You feel, disconnected. You feel, obviously, I'm just speaking for myself. I think, I can't imagine because I grew up in a big family and family to me. And I always like to also broaden that concept of family because your children bring people into family. And I think, even if you're separated in a marriage or divorce, that person is still always family. So I think family is, for me, I have 4 brothers, I have nieces and nephews, and if my brother said to me, walking out of here, I need you in Boston tomorrow, done. I just feel, for me, that's a sense of stability, grounding in the world. I think, for me, having faith gets you through the tough times, which everybody inevitably is going to have. As I say to my children all the time, don't think you're going to be immune from really challenging stuff, because everybody has really challenging stuff, and how you navigate that, how you hold yourself in it, how you get through it. I think it would be hard to get through it without faith.
Yeah. And just because you're so-and-so's kids and you might have more money.
Well, I don't think any of that, because I think there's a lot of people with money who with terrible pain and no family and who are sad and alone. Money is not, I don't put my 3 things money.
Right.
I think, they've done actually a lot of studies about that it's a certain amount of money where people feel like that they have a roof over their head, they can put food on the table, but there's no difference between that. I think the last number of that, was, as I did a story on that, I think the number was $100,000 or $70,000 or something. There was no differentiation between that and millions. And that people really, it's that they're loved, that they have family, and that they have faith. And really, I don't know.
That's the next book title.
What?
Faith, Love, and Family.
Faith, Love, and Family, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Before I ask you the final question, I want to acknowledge you for a moment, Maria, for being a stand for humanity, because in a world where so many people are doing and need to accomplish, you're doing, but you're also constantly reminding us to be loving, compassionate.
Thank you.
For your example as a mother to raise incredible children who are all being compassionate, kind individuals. I'm sure they have their challenges and moments, but I think you've gone through a lot in your life, and to still be here showing up with so much love in your heart for all of us is really inspiring, and I want to acknowledge you for all that you do and the way that you're being with me and always.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys
for doing that.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Make sure you guys get the book. We'll link it up. Go grab a copy. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list for
that is me on the cover. That's me. People always
41,
go, who is that on the cover?
On the cover,
my son took that picture.
That's great.
That's me.
Really
what's funny
book.
Is that I have a picture kind of like this of Georgia O'Keeffe on my bulletin board, and I pulled it out, and it is a picture of her looking out at the desert, and she's got her hair in a bun, and she's got a paintbrush, and it's about, letting go of everything in your life to actually create the life you want. And I was always attracted to her and attracted to the way she lived her life and her independence and her creativity. And I subconsciously, when they wanted me to do this book cover with just my name and have it white and everything, I was like, no, that's not right, that's not right. And my son, I took my kids to Utah, and he took this picture, and I'm like, there's my cover.
That's it.
That's it. And then I realized when I was sitting there with it, I was like, oh my God, it's the same as the Georgia O'Keeffe picture.
And it's close to an open field.
Yeah. Amen.
With some boulders in there, but it's pretty close to an open field.
You got to get over the boulders to get to the open field, trust me.
Where can we connect with you online, or your website, or your...
You can sign up for the Sunday paper, which is the newsletter, and I've been thinking out every week. You've been in the Sunday paper.
Yes, thank you.
And I'd love to have you back.
Yes.
And it's a newsletter for people with passion and purpose, and so we put people who have, we put news above the noise in there, we put views above the noise, and people who are really trying to move humanity forward, move us in a positive direction, because I believe there are way more people like that than there are those who want to divide us and promote hate and negativity. And I don't think that's soft. I don't think that's, aren't you in denial? I think that's the reality of the world.
Yeah.
I just came from the 50th anniversary of Special Olympics, the program my mom started. and there are cops there and teachers there and parents there and local citizens and Knights of Columbus, and the numbers of people who want to be of service, who want to live lives of passion and purpose, lives of greatness, lives of meaning, is way more than the people who want to divide us, gaslight us, scare us, and make us nuts.
Yeah.
So I think it's where you put your attention that matters. And if you put your attention where the insanity is, you're going to go insane.
Right.
And if you put your attention where the people are lying and gaslighting you, you will go insane. Or you can put your attention to all the good in the world and the people who are promoting inclusion and women's rights and men's rights and, trying to make the world better, you will rise up.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, greatness is about really reaching your full potential and living in service at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if service is not in
Yes.
your life, I don't think you're really doing something great.
Right.
You might achieve things, but it's not really that great for me unless it's really impacting humanity on some level.
Yes.
But I'm curious, as the final question is, what is your definition of greatness?
I think somebody who's living their life, who's like secure enough to do their own journey, to chart their own course, pave their own path, and get to the open field. That's great.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Thanks, man.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I'll do another hug in a second. Appreciate you. You're the best.
School of Greatness. Woo-hoo.